Hi, my name is Greg, and I'm National Director of Operations here at TaxSolvers. Now, although TaxSolvers is a national company which helps individuals solve their IRS-related issues, uh, it's really just my wife Amelia and myself. Again, my name is Greg, and I'll be your host today. And expect my presentation here to last about a half an hour or so. I have some very important information to pass along to you. And as a result, I'm going to be looking at my notes pretty regularly. The presentation is Tax Solvers Updated 7 Secrets the IRS Doesn't Want You to Know. And since we haven't met each other, let me give you a brief introduction. After working with taxpayers with IRS problems since 1996, my wife and I have come to realize that there are quite a few secrets that we've learned over the years that set us apart from other tax problem firms, not to mention regular taxpayers out there. And these secrets are responsible for our successes in helping resolve people's tax problems. This video is our attempt to explain these secrets with total transparency, trying to clearly explain what these secrets are, while at the same time allowing you, the viewer, to get real value from this information. Now, why are we doing this? Well, there are two reasons, really. The first is to help. You see, we've been where you are, and we don't like the feeling. IRS problems are the cause of so much anxiety, misery, and heartaches that we can't bear the thought of good people's needless suffering. We genuinely hope this information helps as many people as possible, whether they hire us or not. I have many life experiences to draw from that help with the tax resolution business, which includes a permanent physical disability from birth. So if you're experiencing IRS issues due to health reasons, I understand. My father was a truck driver of 30 years. So if you're an independent operator, owner-operator truck driver, I understand the struggles you face every day. Are you coping with a potential or new divorce? I get that too. See, there have been more than 14 divorces in my immediate family alone. Do you have problems with addiction? I have a background in addiction education, and my wife has a master's degree in counseling. And secondly, we know that many people, once they watch this video, will decide that they'd rather hire us to help them because we know these secrets. We've been there and we've done that many times. And we can fix problems even when things don't go 100% correct. How's that for transparency for you? You might just decide that we're the best people to help you get out of this IRS mess that's been created. Will this video help people to such an extent that they can solve their own tax problems? Well, I hope so. But the truth is, we can't take every case, nor do we want to. Some situations are too small for us to handle for a fee that makes sense for both of us. Some people are too difficult to deal with for us to help them. And that's the sad truth. And some people can't be helped, not because their problem is unsolvable, but rather because they won't take the necessary actions to help themselves. They won't provide documentation to us. They won't have their back year tax returns prepared. They won't pay estimated tax payments, or the problem is so daunting in their own minds that they simply won't communicate with us at all. These kind of folks have cases that we cannot take because we already know that they're not a good fit for us. It's these people, strangely enough, that I hope this video helps the most. Now, if you don't fall into one of those categories I talked about earlier, we certainly still hope this video helps you, but we would also hope that you reach out to us so that we can visit with you and outline a customized plan to get you out of this IRS tax trouble as quickly as possible, while saving you as much heartache and money as possible. Is that a deal up front? Give us a call at 877-828-2976 to schedule a time to visit. I'd love to see what I can do to change your life, at least with regard to your tax issues. So without further delay, on to the IRS secrets that you're here to learn about. Secret number 1, it's not a crime to not pay your taxes. No, that's not what you're thinking. We're not proposing some revolutionary idea from the tax protest movement. The simple truth is that if you file a return on time or before the IRS wants to prosecute you for its being late, it's not a crime to not pay your taxes if you cannot afford to pay them. We don't have debtors' prisons here in the United States. The key is to demonstrate to the IRS that you can't afford to pay them. How do you do this? Well, some people actually can't show that they can't afford to pay their taxes because they can afford to pay them. For instance, they might owe $12,000, but they make $100,000 a year. It's pretty hard to demonstrate an inability to pay in that situation. Now, if the situation is reversed and you owed $100,000 and you made $12,000 a year, it's much easier to demonstrate to the IRS that you can't afford to pay. What's this mean for you? Well, it means you're not going to jail over this IRS issue. We know that you've probably been worrying about that possibility, maybe losing sleep at night over the prospect. And you need to stop that right now, because those thoughts aren't helping you make proactive decisions that will help you solve your tax problem. They're in fact paralyzing you, stopping you from being decisive, and trapping you in the bad place that you may find yourself in right now. Secret number 2, you don't have to talk to an IRS auditor, that is, or anyone within the IRS. As a matter of fact, going or talking to an audit yourself is the absolute worst thing that you can do. Taxpayer Bill of Rights allows you to be represented by a qualified practitioner who can answer questions for you and provide documentation to the Internal Revenue Service. Many taxpayers attempt to handle their own audit or have the person who prepared their taxes handle it for them. The reason this usually doesn't work out is because most tax return professionals do not handle IRS and state collection issues, and the IRS can easily intimidate them, and this usually results in an unfavorable outcome. As of this recording, there are over 12 million cases in IRS collections. There are approximately 1.5 million tax preparers and about 600,000 CPAs. CPAs are only licensed to practice in their state, and testing for a CPA covers general accounting and bookkeeping. Only about 25% of the testing is related to federal tax laws. Alternatively, an enrolled agent is tested 100% on tax matters and has been granted a federal credential from the U.S. Treasury. There are about 50,000 enrolled agents nationwide at the time of this recording, and only 5% of them specialize in IRS collection and representation matters. So that's only about 2,500 professionals in America. And my wife, Amelia, is one of them. Our clients don't talk to the IRS. We do the talking for them. However, we only accept 60 new clients a year. So if you believe we can help you, please get in touch with us. Secret number 3, the IRS has a statute of limitations for collection of tax. Not too many people know this next secret, and we're revealing it because it's the right thing to do. After all, if our government is by the people and for the people, then why should our government hide secrets from us? Well, they shouldn't, but sometimes they do. This secret is simple, really. The IRS has a time limit for how long they're going to have to collect tax that you owe. Isn't that extraordinary? That means this isn't a life sentence for you. Even if nothing else ultimately works out, this problem will someday be gone from your life. And that means there is hope. The time limit is 10 years from the assessment of the tax. You can think of the assessment date as the due date of the return if you filed it on time, or the actual filing date if you filed it late. Now, there are exceptions and things that can add time to this, but that's the general rule. And that is a powerful secret to know about, because every day that goes by is one day closer to the IRS having to write off your debt. Should you use this as an excuse to do nothing? Absolutely not. But you can and should use this information when negotiating with the IRS to your advantage. For example, if there are only 24 months left on the collection statute, don't agree to extend it in order to make lower monthly payments for yourself. That's a trap that the IRS wants you to fall into. Don't fall for it. Now you know. Secret number 4, taxes can be discharged in bankruptcy. This is a secret that even most bankruptcy lawyers don't know, and that's a real shame. Why professionals don't become true experts in their chosen field always confounds me. Income taxes can be discharged or eliminated in bankruptcy, and now I can already see some people shaking their heads and even throwing something at the screen right now, but it's true. If the following 5 rules are met, your income taxes may be dischargeable in bankruptcy. Number 1, the tax returns must have been due for at least 3 years, including extensions. Number 2, the returns, if filed late, must have been filed for at least 2 years. Number 3, the taxes must have been assessed for at least 240 days. Number 4, there can be no willful evasion or avoidance of the payment of the tax. And number 5, no fraud can be present. Now, many people fall under these rules, and many more of those who don't fall under rules now can wait until they do, or take some interim action with the IRS, like a minimal payment plan or hardship declaration, for example, to get to the point where bankruptcy becomes a winning option to eliminating tax debt. We can be retained to assist your local bankruptcy attorney, the individual who told you once that this kind of thing was impossible, in an effort to get the kind of results that you're looking for. Secret number 5, the IRS can't levy you unless they do this first. Many taxpayers live under the fear of IRS garnishment or levies. The secret is that those are empty threats until the IRS issues the final notice of intent to levy. It comes on a letter 1098. That's letter 1098. Until that happens, the IRS can only levy or take your state income tax refund. If you owe federal income tax, and there's not much of a chance you're getting a very big state income tax refund, so it's not that big of a deal for most people. So don't let the prospect of a wage garnishment or bank levy stress you unless you've gotten a letter 1098 in the mail. It comes certified mail, so you have to sign for it through the post office. If you get a letter 1098, call us, 1-877-828-2976. That's 1-877-828-2976. Or file a request for a collection due process hearing. I don't have time in this video to discuss how to do this, but get it done because it keeps the IRS from taking levy action, including garnishments, while the appeal is pending as well. And that can take months, we're talking about there. Secret number 6, you can plan your finances so that you benefit rather than pay your insurmountable tax debt. Now, the IRS doesn't want you to know this, but you can plan your finances in such a manner that you and your family will benefit from your earnings rather than maximize your ability to repay your tax. What am I talking about? Well, the foundational document to determine your ability to pay your tax debt is a Form 433A or 433F. For the purposes of our conversation today, they're basically the same. These forms help the IRS to determine how much they can force you to pay based upon your income and allowable expenses. Now, there's not much we can do about your income. Don't lie or underreport any of that. That leads to big time trouble, and it's very easy for the IRS to verify. The secret here is in the allowable expenses. Whatever they are must be allowed. The secret here is maximizing these allowable expenses before contacting the IRS. How in the world do you do that? Either by reading up on the rules yourself or calling someone like us who does this for a living. Many times we're able to advise taxpayers how to spend their money in legal, allowable ways to minimize their payback to the IRS while using that money to benefit themselves and their families. An example would be health insurance. If you don't currently have health insurance that costs $300 per month, and the IRS is currently showing your ability to pay the $300 a month, it's perfectly allowable to go out and get that health insurance and spend that money on yourself instead of paying your tax debt with it. If a family exercises this strategy and later has a serious illness arise, then they're covered under the health insurance because of the advice that we provided for them. Now, it's never good to be sick, but I'd rather you be covered instead of struggling mightily to pay the IRS that money instead. This strategy is a win-win for everyone except the IRS. And you know what? We use their rules to get it done. Secret number 7, all tax problems have a solution. Now, it might not be the solution that you're hoping for, but there is a solution to your tax problem. Most people let their feelings get in the way of the solution. Let me explain. One of the prerequisites of solving almost every tax problem is getting your tax returns filed and up to date. Now, some people have real problems with this. They have mental blocks about getting this done, or they're self-employed and they can't get their documents together to get it done. Sometimes things in life are hard, but having the IRS take everything away from you and having to explain that to your kids why you can't afford food, that's even harder. There are 7 basic solutions for tax problems. Number 1 is the installment agreement. That's a payment plan to the IRS. The amount is dependent upon your ability to pay. Number 2 is called currently not collectible. It's a hardship status where the IRS agrees that you can't pay. Number 3 is the often seen and talked about offer and compromise, where you make a deal to settle for less. Number 4, you can outlast the collection statute of limitations, as we talked about in secret number 3. Number 5 is bankruptcy. We already talked about that in secret number 4. Number 6 is the innocent spouse rules. It's all my former spouse's fault, for example, but there's very limited application to those rules, unfortunately. And number 7 is full pay, where you can easily afford to pay your full tax debt now. You just don't want to do that. Preparing and filing your old tax returns is a prerequisite for almost all of the solutions here, as is the payment of at least 1/4 of estimated tax payments if you're self-employed. The secret here is that there is one of the solutions as outlined above that fits in every case we see. It's more a matter whether you're committed enough to find out which one's right for you. Now, those are the 7 secrets that I promised you earlier today. But, you know, I have a motto that I live by. I try to underpromise and overdeliver. I promised you 7 secrets, but the more I got to thinking about this matter, there were a few more things I wanted to pass along to you today. So if you don't mind, continue watching. I would appreciate that. Thanks for watching this far. You know, this can be pretty dry stuff, but it's if you want to know more, and I believe it's important, please keep watching. I promise to make it worth your while. Secret number 8, use the streamlined installment agreement to your advantage. The IRS has a program called the streamlined installment agreement that is right for some people. Now, simply stated, if you owe $50,000 or less of tax, you can probably easily contact the IRS and enter into a payment plan that will full pay within 72 months. That means if you owe $50,000, you may be able to get a payment for as little as $700 a month. That really isn't a secret. The secret is that there are no financials required for that transaction. There's no Form 433A or 433F. And why is that significant? Because if you owe more than $50,000, you have to disclose your income, your allowable expenses. And what if you really have an ability to pay $5,000 per month, but would rather not? I mean, who would? You can pay your balance down to $50,000 or so and skip the financial disclosure process altogether. Now, that tip right there just saved somebody's butt. And it's better for you to be in control of what you pay on a monthly basis rather than let Uncle Sam make that often painful decision for you. Number 9, how to get a federal tax lien released. I haven't talked about federal tax liens yet in this video. Truth is, there isn't much anyone can do to prevent a tax lien from being filed other than pay the tax. The IRS pretty much has the complete right to file a tax lien against you almost immediately after the bill is generated. That doesn't always happen, but it does sometimes. There is a fairly new program called the Fresh Start Initiative that forces the IRS to withdraw the tax lien in certain circumstances. If you enter into a direct debit installment agreement where they take the money straight out of your bank account every month and you make 3 payments in a row and your debt is under $50,000, you qualify. You have to know about the program and to apply for it, and that's why I think it qualifies here as a secret. Take advantage of this. Your credit score will thank you later. Secret 10, offers and compromise are easier now to get approved than they were before. In the past, as recently as 2012, offers and compromise were hard to get approved, and it took forever. Sometimes, honestly, as long as 3 years. The good news is that's all changed. With new rules passed in 2012, offers are easier and cheaper to get through than ever. Taxpayers are settling for as much as 75% less than they were in early 2012 and before. And they're getting approved on average in as little as 9 to 12 months. There's a possibility you could settle for as little as $500 for what you owe the IRS. Does this work for everyone? No, absolutely not. But it may work for you. The best and quickest way to find out is if you qualify is to give us a call at 1-877-828-2976. I give you my word as a solemn promise that I won't take your case and I won't file an offer for you unless I think I can help you. If I don't think I can help you, I don't need the heartache of having to explain after the fact that, you know what, it didn't work out for you. It's the worst thing in this business, if you ask me, telling people that their hopes didn't turn out the way they thought they would. My way of avoiding that is to only take good cases. It's really self-preservation, but it works to your advantage. Good cases are cases where the client has reasonable expectations and it looks like a good result can be obtained. Our goal is that you save many times what you would pay us in fees. And remember, we only accept 60 new clients a year. Secret 11, your audit may not really be over. The second to last secret is that your audit may not really be over if you've been audited and you really never had an opportunity to meaningfully produce documents for the auditor, or the audit or assessment was done without your involvement at all. You can pursue something called audit reconsideration. It's not really a right, but the IRS will entertain additional documentation or evidence not originally considered by the auditor for years into the future. This can be a great opportunity to reduce the tax bill that you might actually have to pay because you really can't afford it. If you find yourself in this position, you really might want to give us a call. This is very likely too complicated for most taxpayers to handle. It entails putting together a package of newly discovered documentation that clearly demonstrates that the IRS has assessed too much tax against you. At last, number 12, the final secret. Substitute for returns aren't the last word. Sometimes the IRS prepares returns for you if you, quote unquote, forgot to file your own. They're called substitute for returns, or SFRs. When the IRS prepares SFRs, everyone in the system knows that they're way too high. It's the IRS's way of getting your attention in order to get you to file your returns and get you back into the system. Unfortunately, it demotivates most people. Actually, it demoralizes them because they don't know that if the IRS has prepared an SFR for you, you can prepare your own original return and submit that to the IRS for consideration. If your return shows less tax, which is typically the case, then the IRS is going to wipe out their SFR that they did and impose your new return in its place. And even small differences in tax can make huge differences in the bottom line bill when the returns are old. And that's because interest and penalties are so high that interest and penalties are often as much as the tax itself. So by reducing the tax significantly, you also reduce the interest and penalties accrued over time significantly. And that's a huge secret that most taxpayers never even think about. In conclusion, so there you have it. I promised you 7 secrets for your time, and I gave you 12. I sincerely hope that this video was eye-opening and maybe a little entertaining, as a video on this topic possibly can be. I also hope that you consider giving us a call at 877-828-2976 for a free consultation with us. Now, we won't take your case if we can't help, but we will try to help you during a consultation, even if it doesn't make us any money. Why? There are 2 reasons for that. 1, because I believe in helping as many people as I can while I'm alive. And 2, because if we help you, even if we don't make any money from you, we would hope that your experience with us would be such that you would consider sending your friends and family who have tax issues to us. when they have their problems. After all, you know that you've got nothing to lose here and maybe everything to gain. Your trust in us is more important than any amount of money that you're going to pay for our services. I have one final request. Is if this video has helped you out and you're too shy to call us, would you send me an anonymous email to taxsolversllc@gmail.com. That's TaxSolvers, TaxSolversllc@gmail.com. Just tell me if it helped you and how it helped. You know, these videos take time and effort for me to produce. I just spilled the guts of the tax problem industry to you, and I'm going to get some hate mail from my colleagues over this. It happens every time. I'm a bit of a rogue in the industry because I don't believe in keeping secrets from good people like you. Your emails keep me energized and enthused about helping as many people as I can. So thanks again for watching. Take care and good luck.